सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om Namo Narayana to all the Swamis, Acharyas present here, and to all the devotees and the mothers, is Supreme Narayana Smaran. Our 10th pontiff of Kailash Ashram used to say, Supreme Narayana Smaran means a loving memory or remembrance of Lord Narayana may always remember with you. So the text which we are going to start today, and which we'll be speaking about it today. As Dr. Saju has said in his introduction, the text is Viveka Chudamani. It is one of the primary Prakarana Grantha. You see, Prakarana Grantha, when we talk about, it is just like a foundation to understand the Prasthanatraya. In the morning sessions, you have heard about Kathopanishad, Brahma Sutra Adhyasa Bhashyam. I am sure there were many technical terms which many of you may not have understood. The reason for that is, first, during learning the path of Vedanta, you have to learn the Prakarana Grantha. If I ask you, how strong is the building? It can easily be said that the foundation, as strong as the foundation is, so strong the building is. So Prakarana Granthas act like a foundation to understand this Prasthana. You may feel, you may see when you read Prasthanatraya, Upanishads, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, etc., that these are very easy to understand. Because literally, you think that you are able to understand the meaning of those words. So you think that you are understanding what Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji or what our Vedas wanted to convey, what it wanted to say. But when you study the Prakarana Granthas, then you will understand the depth of it. So this is the Viveka Chudamani. And many of you, whoever has studied Shankar Bhashya, they know Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya, every now and then he mentions, Akhyayika to Sukhava Bodhartha. The stories which are mentioned in the Upanishads are to understand the subject which is very complicated, the Klishta Vishaya, the complicated subject, in an easier way, without heating your brains. So we'll also start. Today we are going to discuss the necessity of this particular Viveka Chudamani, the importance, the significance, and all these things as we proceed further, we'll be discussing. But we'll be starting with a story. This particular story comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 2nd chapter, as well as the 4th chapter. This is called Maitreyi Brahmana. So this is a very famous Upanishad Rishi, that which belongs to Upanishad, it's called Upanishad. So this Rishi named Yagyavalkya, one fine day in the morning, he had a wife named Maitreyi. So he says, Maitreyi, Udyasyan vahare aham asmat sthanad asmi. Yagyavalkya, the Rishi, is considered that even though staying in a householder's life, he has realized his one own self. But when you study the scriptures, it is said to enjoy the Jivan Mukta, the joy of being free from all these bondages in this very body is called Jivan Mukta. So to enjoy that bliss, you have to give up all the attachments. You have to take sannyasa. So he says to his wife, addresses to his wife Maitreyi, that I am leaving this place and I am proceeding further into the 4th state, that is Chaturthashrama Sannyasa. And I am severing my connection with you. And Yagyavalkya has another wife named Katyayani. Katyayanya saha antam karvani iti. So I'm disconnecting, I'm severing my connection with you as well as Katyayani. What was the purpose of this? To say, whatever Yagyavalkya Rishi has earned through dakshinas in his whole life, he wanted to distribute both of them equally. So Maitreyi is Brahmavadini in this. And as well as we get the examples of Gargi as well, but that's a different subject altogether. But here Maitreyi, immediately knowing the intention of Rishi Yagyavalkya, she says that Ya iyam prithvi sarvena vittena purna syat, sarva vittena purna syat. If the whole earth is filled with gold or another kind of wealth, will I get immortality? Now you see, there are several points here to just think. First of all, in normal days, in normal life, we are seeing people running behind wealth. Idam me syad, idam me bhavishyati. They are running and running and running. Naturally, we see every day. It's not that we have to try to find it somewhere. It's drishti gocharaha is in front of us. Every day we are seeing people running behind money, wealth, and etc. But here, she is asking, if the whole world, the whole Prithvi Loka is filled with gold or vittaha, vitta is wealth, will I get immortality? Now, the second point to think over here is, who is speaking? Of course, the gross body you can say, which is in front of us, you can only say that. So, how can a person, even a normal person, knows that this gross body cannot be immortal? Isn't it? Everybody knows that everyone has to die. Leave this mortal coil at least. Forget about the people, those who know, they say that you are going to leave this mortal coil and go elsewhere. And the people, those who don't know anything about the scriptures, they say, oh, I am going to die. Even though very subtle difference, but both of them know that this gross body cannot be immortal. So what happened when she has asked this question, will I become immortal? Then what was Rishi Yagyavalkya's reply? He said, no. Yatheva upakarnavatam jivitam syat, tathaiva te jivitam syat. However, whatever people, wealthy people will be living, so you will also live accordingly. If today, if a poor person is staying, if he gets like few billions of rupees or few crores of rupees, probably in the lottery or inheritance, what will happen? His lifestyle, he is living with change. But how? He will start living just like a multimillionaire or a billionaire. Yatheva upakarnavatam jivitam syat, tathaiva te jivitam syat. So, but amritatvasya nashasi vittena. But there is not even a single percentage of chance by the wealth to get the immortality. So here the thing is to understand is, she understands, she knows that there is something else apart from this gross body. The gross body in the scripture, it is said that it has 6 kinds of defect. That is, jayate, first it gets birth. Then asti, it is said that it exists. Then vardhate, vardhate is growing up. Viparinamate, it goes on changing. You yourself think, are you the same that you were 10 years back? No, that is viparinamate. Then further and further the body grows, it is said apakshiyate. It starts getting decaying. You get joint pains, you get back pain, and what all this called apakshiyate. And then the end stage comes vinashyati. It gets destroyed. So how can this gross body become immortal? There is something apart from this gross body. So further we'll see that even the performers of the action, they know that there is something apart from the gross body. That's how they are performing. You see, the one who is doing yaga, homa, havanas, etc., doesn't he know that he is going to get the fruit when he leaves this body? He knows, then only he is performing. If he doesn't know, then he doesn't perform. So that is what Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, nahi shastra viditva karma karta kaschit. Means without knowing the scriptures or the outcome or the free goods, nobody performs an action. Prayojanamanuddishya mandopi na pravartate. Without knowing the purpose, even the dullard will not engage into a performing of action or anything. So there exists something else apart from this cross body. So that is the viveka which you are seeing in this body, even though offered the wealth, but what she had in the mind, she wants to get immortality. How that immortality is obtained, that you will be seeing in this Prakarana Granthas, Viveka Chudamani, as well as in Upanishads, etc. It is said. Now, here comes the second question. What is there a need to have a Viveka? Isn't it enough if just the scripture says, okay, you should not run behind or lust behind others, or you should not have greed? Lord Krishna says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthito. So the person who does not know the whole scripture, you see, the person who doesn't know, he is safe. The person who knows everything, he is safe. But the person who knows only half knowledge, he is in great danger. So somewhere he has heard that Lord Krishna has said, Tashmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthito. Okay, whatever the scripture says, that itself is the proof enough. We don't need to have the viveka. We'll just blindly follow the scriptures. Scriptures have said, Palandum na bhakshe. It has said, you should not eat onions, you should not greed, you should not have lust, and akrodama, satyam, ahimsa, and all these things, whatever the scripture said, we'll try to follow it. But if you don't have viveka, then there was a very, very wonderful experiment which happened in the West. You see what has happened? It is called an experiment of pink elephant. So the speaker on the stage, there were people sitting, just like you are sitting. So he says, imagine a pink elephant. And now nicely imagine that it has a pink tail, pink ears, and all these things he has said. And he said, imagine for it for 30 seconds. Now after that immediately says, you should not think about the pink elephant. Immediately what will come first in the mind? The pink elephant will come in the mind. So this was an experiment to show the impact of the intrusive thoughts which are happening. So now when you see each and every day, we are exposed to so many social platforms, we are seeing the news, we are seeing so many different kind of videos, and what to say about this? We are carrying the past birth impressions from so many births together. So what will happen? All these intrusive thoughts will come and it will not allow us to follow the scriptural teachings as long as you don't have or develop the viveka. Viveka is what when you say it is a proper understanding. Now very simply Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya has explained Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. So, what is eternal? What is non-eternal? To have a clear discrimination in the mind, to have a clarity in the mind, that is called viveka. So, once you have the viveka, you will know that whatever the mind is running behind, that is anitya vastu. Anityam asukham imam lokam prapya bhajasvamam. What Lord Krishna has said, this particular world is anityam, it is non-eternal, it is not going to remain. And not only that, it is asukham. Whatever sukha which you are seeing, that is only lavakanika matra. It is only a shadow in the Panchadashi, it is said in the different Prakarana Grantha. It is just a shadow, chaya, mere shadow of that Brahmana Ananda. We'll discuss also about that later as we proceed further. So that is Viveka. So then what Arjuna has said, the state of mind being discussed, Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraha manye vayoriva shudushkaram. So when Lord Krishna was instructing Arjuna, then Arjuna says, oh, I find the mind very difficult to control. It is always running behind the material objects. then you can say, Swamiji, this is not our fault. The scriptures themselves, they say, Paranchikhani Vyatiranatvayambu, Tasmat Parang Pashyati, Nantaratman. But scriptures also say, Kaschid Dhiraha Pratyagatmanam Avritas Chakshur Amritatvam Icchan. So, there are very, very, very few people, those who are withdrawing the senses from the external material objects and they are concentrating, they are purifying the mind. So, Lord Krishna, what he has replied there, Asanshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam. What you are saying is very true, but what you have to do, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena cha grihyate. That abhyasa comes from where? It comes from viveka. What is that abhyasa? Abhyasa in literal terms, when you literally translate what it is practice. What are you going to practice? You are going to practice this viveka again and again. When the mind is running behind the material objects, what will you do? You will, in your own mind, you will have the clarity that these are all anityam, asukham. There is no joy in this, there is no bliss in this. Imam lokam prapya bhajasvamam. So, getting this human birth, you have to always be in the surrenderance of Lord. And that is viveka. That's how you will purify the mind and slowly proceed into the Vedanta, etc. So now you can see, very good, you have told what is the need, what is the purpose of viveka. But how does one get viveka? How is viveka born in a person? Then there are two answers for this. One is that all the sukritas which you have done in the previous births, that is all the good deeds which you have done in the previous births, they purify the mind to an extent where you have the thought that, okay, there is something far beyond than this materialistic joy or materialistic happiness. That is one. Second, Goswami Tulsidas ji in Ramcharitramanas says, Bina satsang viveka na hoy. So, without satsang, viveka is not born. What is satsanga? The one, the classes, this Himalaya Rishi Sangamam, what you are attending here, that itself is satsanga. Satam sangaha iti satsanga, it is said. Going into the sannidhi, nearness of the gurus, of the masters, that is satsanga. There you go, you ask all the doubts of your mind and the Guru replies, that is satsanga. In this way, this is particularly the introduction, the need, the purpose of having viveka and how it is born. And once it is born, then what happens? Hoi viveka moha brahma bhaga. Goswami Tulsidas ji says, once the viveka is born in you, and this is the first among the Sadhan Chatushtaya which is discussed in this very Viveka Chudamani, Sadhan Chatushtaya is also discussed. That is Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumuksha. Viveka is the discrimination, Vairagya is the dispassion or non-attachment, and Shat Sampatti a set of 6 wealth. That is Shamadama, Uprati, Titiksha, Shraddha and Samadhan. Then the Mumuksha. So this Viveka is the first one. So as soon as the Viveka happens, what happens? You will proceed further in your spiritual journey. It is not that just simply having Viveka Moha Brahmbhaga means it is not that the illusion or the delusion is destroyed and you will get the Mumuksha or Moksha. That is not the case. But this is the first step in the journey. Just like it is said that Kashyam Maranad Muktihi. Someone somewhere has read in the Purana that if you leave this body in Kashi, you will get moksha. But how it is that if you read the process whole, then you will know that when you leave this body, it is Mena Mukti. What will happen? You will get a better birth next time. You will have better instruments to understand the scriptures next time. What we say ahara is not the only one which we have just consumed, food. Ahariyanti iti ahara, it is said. Whatever you are grasping in 24 hours through all your senses, that is called ahara. The ear is also eating. What is it eating? Its own object, subject you can say. It is listening the sound or words. The eye is also eating. What is eating? It is seeing. So ahariyanti iti ahara. So as long as ahara shuddha is not there, so long all these things will not happen. So first to have viveka, you should have a purified life, as the scriptures have said. So next, continuing further, they say that when you go in the sannidhi of the Sant Mahatma, that is the nearness of the sadhus, then you will have the viveka. So Narada is considered as the Devarshi. Then there is a very beautiful story. We'll just touch it and we'll move forward. So during the time of creation, this Daksha, he has produced 10,000 sons to continue the creation. Narada goes there and says, "Oh, what are you getting into? Do you know how a householder's life is so difficult? You have to think about all the rations, you have to think about your children's fees and all these things. It is so difficult, householder's life. Why are you trying to enter with that?" "Oh, then what should we do? You go in the forest and chant Lord Narayana's name, and then you will be released from this bondage of cycle of birth and death," he said. What happens? Those 10,000 sons, this story comes into Bhagavatam. They are called Haryashvas. The name of the set of these 10,000 sons are called Haryashvas. What they do? They go to the forest and they start meditating, and that's how they release from this cycle of birth and death. Then again Daksha produces second set of 10,000 sons. Again Narada says, "Do you know where your brothers have gone?" They say, "No, we don't know." So they are also sent again in the same way. Then Daksha gets angry and he curses Narada that you will not be able to stay in one place. So all that story. But basically, as soon as Binu Satsangati Vivek na hoye. So once you go to the nearness of the Mahatmas and Sadhus, when they talk about it, when they preach about it, then only Viveka happens. So after having Viveka, then the delusion, the first step, the delusion, and all this is being destroyed in a systematic manner. It is further said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Among thousands and thousands, you see, first of all, sahasra, the word is thousand, which is denoting thousand. But the particular word, those who are the knower of Sanskrit, they know that sahasreshu is a plural form. So among thousands and thousands and thousands, a few, one kaschid yatati siddhaye. So how is he having an effort for siddhi? Siddhi is what? Not gaining some powers over here. That is not the siddhi. Siddhi is, the highest siddhi is to get liberated from this very cycle of birth and death. So why is that particular one is having an effort and not the others? Because he has a viveka. So this is the significance of viveka. Then comes the chudamani, the word. You see, money is a jewel. And chuda, you can say either a crown or a crest. So literally, all the Upanishad teachings, that is the fun of studying a Prakaran Grantha, once after you have studied the Prasthanatraya. You see, Prakaran Grantha is the foundation for studying Prasthanatraya. But once you have studied the Prasthanatraya and come back to the Prakaran Grantha, you will find whatever is said in the Prasthanatraya, that is Upanishad, etc., everything is being said by Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya ji. We lovingly call him Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya ji, in this Prakarana Granthas itself. So this Chuda Mani is the jewel. Chuda is, you can say, either a crown or a crest. So there are some examples. Just now, as we have seen, the story of Yagyavalkya and Maitreyi, this particular story, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya, he himself has taken in the 7th shloka of this Viveka Chudamani, and he says, Amritatvasya nashasti vittena itihi shrutihi. Shruti itself, by herself, is saying, Shruti is called Bhagavati, Divine Mother. Shruti Bhagavati herself is saying, Amritatvasya na ashasti vittena. There is not even a probability of singular chance, single percentage of getting an immortality by having the material wealth. Second, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjalaniti Shanta Upasita. this particular mantra comes in the Upanishad that whatever you are seeing, that is not different from Brahman. Brahman is all-pervading consciousness. Sarvam khalvidam Brahma. Tajjalan iti shantopasita. Tajjalan means what? From it, the existence has come. The manifestation. Tajja, talla, and tad-ana. When you say Tajjalan, so it is Tajja. From it, all these manifestations have been created. And Talla. La means everything will be dissolved during the cycle of dissolution. It will be dissolved in the same Ishvara, you can say, because Ishvara is the creator. And Tad Ana. Ana means during the time of sustenance also, there is nothing apart from him. Just now, as we were discussing in the Adhyasa Bhashya, during the time when you are seeing a snake on the rope, where it is on the rope itself. If you remove the rope, will you be able to see the snake? No. But has there any change in the rope? During the period when you were seeing the snake, was there any change in the rope? So that is how the creation is. There is no change in that ultimate Brahman, superior, all-pervading consciousness, but it is only superimposition, that is. So, this is being explained, Sharvam Khalvidam Brahma Tajjalaniti Shantopasita. This Upanishad mantra you will be seeing, Brahmai Veda Vishwam Ityeva Vani Shrauti Bruthe. This particular shloka comes at 233 in this Viveka Chudamani. Then proceeding further, Athato Adesha Neti Neti. This is a very famous instruction of the Upanishad. Whatever you are seeing, not this, not this. All the gross, all the subtle, and whatever you are seeing, by what you are refuting, even that is not Brahman. That refutation happens through the mind. That mind is not Brahman. So, there is something apart from this. So, that comes Athata Adesha iti Shruti Swayam Nishedati Brahmani Kalpitam Dvayam. This is 247. Then comes Tattvamasi. It is a Mahavakya. So this particular 255 to 261, you will be saying, Yad Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavaya Atmani. So these are all the shlokas ending with Yad Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavaya Atmani, starting from 255 to 261. And the last one is Yadahi eva tasmin udaramantaram kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati. So the Upanishad says, no matter if you don't see non-duality, Advaita, then what will happen? It is showing a result. What will happen? Even if you see an ounce, a single gram of difference, that is Dvaita, duality, then what will happen? You will have a fear. What is fear? The fear of birth, the fear of death. That is Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jathare Shayanam. Again, the cycle of birth and death continues and continues. So when you see Taittiriya Bhashya, Sureshwaracharya ji has written a Vartika. He says, this also has come in Garbhopanishad. It is one of the most important Upanishads for studying and having dispassion, Vairagyam. It narrates how a jiva, individual soul, enters into the womb of a mother and what promises he does to the Paramatma or the divine God, and once he comes out, he or she, whatever, once it comes out, how it forgets nicely whatever promises it has done in the womb of the mother. So there also in Garbhopanishad. But here, Sureshwaracharya ji, in the Vartika of Taittiriya Bhashya, he writes, Mriti Vijam Bhavet Janma. Janma Bijam Bhavet Tatha Sati. As soon as there is a birth, there is a seed of the death. You show me one single person who has kept until today this mortal coil. He is with the same body. You can have Jitendriyas who are living very long. You can say this Hanumanji is a Jitendriya, and then many other Jitendriyas you can have. Jitendriyas means who have prolonged life. But you will not be able to show one even single individual who is immortal with this mortal coil. That's why the name itself is mortal coil, this gross body, Stula Sharira. So all these things, Bhagwan Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya, he has taken from the Upanishads and integrated into this Viveka Chudamani. So this is called as Mani. Mani is the jewel and Chuda is the crest, or you can say crown. In this way, the name itself explains Viveka Chudamani. We have seen the meaning of Viveka as well as Chudamani also. Now proceeding to the first shloka of this. You see, there is a tradition custom in the scriptures. Any time when you're starting a scripture or a text, what you do the Mangala Charanam. Mangala Charanam is called auspicious prayers or invocation. So there is a saying, Mangaladini, Mangalamadhyani, Mangalantani, Shastrani Patante. In the beginning, in between, and at the end, you do the Mangala Charana. Why is it? Because to refute, to negate all the obstacles which are coming in your way. It is said, Shreyansi Bahuviknani. When you are starting to do some auspicious or divine work, there may be several obstacles. So to remove and refute all those things, you offer Mangala Charanam. So the first shloka of this Viveka Chudamani is the Mangala Charanam. It is said, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Now you see, was it not enough if you would have said Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam? First of all, let's understand what is Vedanta. You see, we have 4 Vedas. So the distribution of the mantras which are in the Vedas, it is accordingly that 80,000 mantras are related to the performance of the action. If someone wants a son, Putreshti Kamo Yajeta, Swarga Kamo Yajeta, Vrishti Kamo Yajeta. Whatever your desire is, accordingly there are mantras available to get that appropriate fruit for it. Like King Dashratha has performed Putreshti Yajna. Then someone other, you can say, he has performed Swarga Kama Yajna. He wanted to go to heaven, so he has performed the Yajna accordingly. So all these mantras are 80,000 in number, 80. Then comes 16,000 mantras which are related to the upasanas. It may be Karmanga Upasana or different kind of upasanas. Those are 16,000 mantras. Vaidika Upasanas. And then the 4,000 remaining, it is believed to be having 100,000 mantras, that is 1 lakh mantras in the Upanishad. Unfortunately, not all of them are available according to the time now. But it is said that there were 100,000 mantras, including all these 4 Vedas. 100,000 is 1 lakh. So the remaining 4,000 mantras are pertaining to the Jnana Kanda, the oneness of this individual and all-pervading consciousness. Each and everybody, if I ask now, how far does your eye go? When you, since the moment you wake up in the morning until you go on the bed, just count once how many times the word I you use. And how far does your eye go? You will say, as long as the body is there, this is the Paridhi, Sima, it is called the limit of eye. So this is called individual soul, Jiva. And the Paramatma, the Supreme, the all-pervading consciousness. So the oneness of this both is in the last 4,000 mantras. That is called Vedanta. Vedanam Antimaha Mugurdha, the Shirsha, the head portion, the highest supreme portion of this Vedas is called Vedanta. So, Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. So, after all the conclusions of all the deciding debate and all these things, whatever is finally concluded, that is called Siddhanta. It can only be seen through the Vedanta Siddhanta. Now we have forgotten the first word, Sarva. Why was there a need to use the word Sarva? In fact, if it would have been said, Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam, Tam Agocharam. Why was there a need to say Sarva? You see, it is not only limited to these 4 Vedas, but when you go to the Upanishad, the example has come, just like, I am not quoting the mantra because the time does not permit us. So just like the wet firewood, from the wet firewood, just like the smoke comes, the flames comes and the splashes comes. In the same way, from this great being, all this Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Ityasa, Purana, and Vyakhyanani, Anuvyakyanani, whatever you are seeing, they all come from this great being. So there, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya has explained, Purana, you should not understand that this is different some Purana. It is a portion of Veda. Whatever stories have come in the Vedas, not the Vedanta, but Urvashi Pururavaso. There is a story about Urvashi, the damsel, and Pururava, the king. So in that way, that story you have to understand that it is pertaining to the Purana portion of the Vedas. So when you talk about the Purana, there you should understand that it is a portion of Veda. This Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji writes in the commentary of this particular mantra which we are discussing. Either that, or you can take the well-known meaning that these Puranas which are written, compiled by Bhagavan Vedavyasa, and then you can say Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara is the abode. In fact, they are compiled by Bhagavan Vedavyasa. Then how is it called Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya is the abode? Because they are present to him just like a fruit on this palm of the hand, Hastamalakam Iva. Just like the fruit on the palm of his hand. All these Shrutis, all these Smritis, and all these Puranas, they are present to Adi Shankaracharya ji. And then you can say that Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samhupa Brahmed. That this is a Mahabharata shloka. That through the medium of Ityasa is Mahabharata, and Puranas, all these 18 Puranas, 18 Upapuranas and all these things, you should be able to understand the meaning of the Vedas. You see what has been said, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. So this is the teaching of Veda and Vedantas. So in Puranas you will be seeing an elaborated long story. Satyam Vada means you will see the story of Yudhishthira, story of Satyavadi Raja Harishchandra, how he has taken the pains to keep his word in the same. Dharmam Chara means you will see so many examples of that. There is a story named Raja Shibi. He has in fact cut the flesh from his thigh to upkeep his dharma. In this way you will see many stories, but the stories are not for the sake of stories. You need to understand the teaching behind it. So Ityasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samopa Brahmahed. Through the process of Ityasa, that is Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc., and Purana, you should be able to understand Veda. So in this way, either the first meaning, what Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Adi Shankaracharya ji has said, that Purana is not different from the Vedas, the stories which have come in the Vedic portion of the Vedas, that is to be considered as Purana, either that meaning, or you can say this well-known meaning of Purana, Smritis, Shrutis and all these things, that you can say, this is how you will be able to explain Sarva Vedantaha. Otherwise there was no need to say the word Sarva, only Vedanta if you would have said, that would have been enough. So all that particular Puranas, Smritis and Shrutis, everything after discussing, what happens? The mantra comes, Prajapati Lokan Abhyatapat. When someone, if you are sitting idly, sometimes in your mind it will come, what is the most auspicious thing or what is the most significant thing in this whole birth, in this creation. So Prajapati, the creator, also in the beginning of the creation, he had this thought. So what he has done, he has meditated on these words, Traividya Samprasravat. So this Rig Yaju Sama, these three have come out of that meditation. When he has meditated on the words, what did he find? These three were the most significant. He has meditated on these three. Then what has come out of it? This Trini Vyahariti, Bhurbhasvaiti. These three have come out of it. And once he meditates on these three, what comes out of it? Om, this particular word comes out of it. Now there are whole Upanishads and Upanishads filled with the significance. You can say Mandukya Upanishad is whole Omkara, Avideya Avidhana Pradhanaha. The Om is not different from the Supreme Brahman. Supreme Brahman is not different from the Omkara. Even Prashnopanishad has it, Chandogya has it, Brihadaranya has it. We are not going to go in much detail, but that is the most Siddhanta Saraha. So in this way, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam, Tam Agocharam. Otherwise he is not be able to experience what will it is said, na tatra chakshu gachati, na vag gachati, na mano, na vidmo, na vijanimaha. In that absolute, all-pervading consciousness, neither the mind goes, nor the speech goes, nor the eye goes, nor the ear goes. But yad vachana abhyudate. Through speech, it cannot be spoken of. But the speech speaks because of that. The power it is getting, it is only because of the Brahman. Otherwise, it is not possible. In this way, you have to. Then comes Govindam. It is said, Gam Vindati iti Govindaha. This literal, you see, when you see this Mangalacharana, there are 3 types of Mangalacharana. One is Ashirvadatmakaha. So what it is said, giving blessings to someone in the marriages or in the auspicious occasion like birthdays, etc. That is called Ashirvadatmakaha. You are literally giving blessings like Swasti Vachana. That is one Mangalacharana. Second one is Vastu Nirdeshatmakaha. You are pointing out the subject. In Vedanta, there is no other Vastu than Brahman. So that is Vastu Nirdeshatmakaha. And the third one is Namaskaratmakaha. You are offering your pranams. So this particular shloka is a Mangalacharan in both the ways. It is showing the Vastu Nirdeshatmaka, that it is showing the nature of the Brahman and what is the subject topic of the discussion in the Vedanta or in this particular Viveka Chudamani. That is Vastu Nirdesha. As well as what will happen, he is offering his pranams to the author, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, to his guru named Govinda. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya's sannyasa name was Bhagavatpada, his guru's sannyasa name was Govindapada, and his great-grand guru's sannyasa name is Gaudapada. So Govindam. So the meaning you can say he is offering pranams to his guru, but when you come back to Vastu Nirdeshatmakaha, it is called Gaha. Gaha means the speech. Upanishad Vachaha Vindati. It is only be able to experience this agocharam, that which cannot be experienced by any to instruct you, then only you will be able to understand about the Supreme Brahman. Otherwise, how will you be able to understand? Then it is said, Upanishad Vachaha, Gaha Upanishad Vachaha. Then it is called Paramanandam. Paramanandam means what? You see, today wherever you see, people are in misery and sorrow. The reason is because they are always running behind the material objects. But such is not the case here. Here, this is Svatma Ramaha, one who is dwelling in his own self. He does not need anything else. He is not dependent on anything else. He is Svatma Ramaha. For these kind of Mahatmas, it comes Atmaratihi, Atmakridaha. He is dwelling in his own self. He does not depend on anything else. Then he is called Paramananda. So goes on and goes on, 100 times multiplication. Then later where it says that this is the Brahmana Ananda, this is the joy, bliss of the all-pervading consciousness. It is not something different from it, that you are experiencing the joy. As soon as you experience, that means something else is there apart from you. But such is not the case. He is dwelling in his own self. That is called Atmaramaha, Atmakridaha, Atmaratihi. So even Shiva Mahimna says, Nahi Svatma Ramam Mrigatrishnika Brahmayati. The one who is dwelling in his own self, all this mirage, oasis, which is seemingly mirage in the desert, that is Mrigatrishnika, that does not perturb him, that does not disturb him, because it does not depend on that for the joy or bliss. He is blissful in his own state. That is called Paramanandam. That is the highest joy. In fact, when you break this word, it is called Paramascha, so Anandaha, Paramanandaha. The highest supreme bliss, there is nothing far beyond that. So this is how you have to understand. You have to go back to Ananda Mimamsa. That is how you understand the Upanishads, and you come back to the Prakarana Granthas. Once you have studied the Upanishads, you come back to the Prakarana Grantha. All those mantras which you have studied in the Upanishad, you will start reflecting here. That, oh, Bhagavan Abhadshakara, Adi Shankaracharya wanted to say this. We could not understand when we were studying just the Prakarana Granthas, because we had no knowledge of the Upanishads. But once you study and come back it, you will be able to see all these connections, it is called. So, Paramanandam. Then Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Such is my Guru, such is my Sadguru, who is Govindapad. To him I offer my pranams. Moving forward, this is the first one was only the invocation. It is the auspicious prayer offered or the pranams offered. Now, this particular shloka starts the actual subject of Viveka Chudamani. Just like in Gita, you see, even though it starts from chapter 1, but what happens there, you have seen the introduction. Dhritarashtra asks the Sanjay what has happened, and all these things, introduction goes on. Then what happens? Sanjay says, oh, Arjuna left his bow and arrow. He's shivering with sorrow, pain and grief. And he has said such and such things that I will not be able to fight my relatives. In fact, it is better for me to beg alms and survive. All these things are over. Then where from the actual Gita starts? That is second chapter, 11th shloka. What does Lord Sri Krishna say? Ashochyanan vashochastvam pragyavadanscha bhashase. All those people, those who are not to be sorrowed, ashochya, anusochastvam. You are having sorrow, you are thinking about them, those who are not to be thought about. That is anusochasam. Pragyavadanscha bhashase. You seem to think yourself as a very learned and knowledgeable person. That's why when I told you to fight, this is the dharma yuddham, and you said, no, in fact it is better for me to beg alms and survive. You are speaking like a person who knows everything. Gatasuna gatasuncha nanu shochanti panditaha. The one who has passed away, who has left the body, and the one who is alive, the pandita. Pandita is not this pandita who is performing the actions. Panda is called Atma Buddhi, the one who has become one with the all-pervading consciousness. They do not sorrow about the people, those who are dead and those who are alive. So in the same way, that particular shloka 2.11 captures the gist summary of the whole Gita. Why was there a need for Lord Sri Krishna to instruct Gita to Arjuna? In the same way, this particular shloka, it says, Jantunam narajanma durlabham. You see, immediately when you say Jantunam, Jananashilanam, those who are born. Now here comes the question. Who is born? At once you say Ajo Nityah Shashvatoyam Purano na hanyate na hanyamane sharire. That means there is something which is not taking birth. Ajaha, Ajaraha, Amaraha. This is all being said in the scriptures, that there is no birth for him, there is no old age for him, there is no death for it, that particular all-pervading consciousness. That is Ajo Nityaha, it is eternal. Nitya Shashvatoyam Puranaho. That is ever-ending. There is no beginning. There is beginningless. Shashvataha. It always remains. And Puranaha. Purana means it is not that it has become some old. The meaning of Purana is Purapi Nava iti Purana. Even now it is still relevant. That is called Purana. At one end you are giving this particular instructions. Now you are saying the one who is born. So who is born? This gross body. The connection with this gross body, it is called Jantunam, Jananashilanam, the one who is born. Narajanma durlabham. It is with great difficulty, it is said, you get the human body. It is said, Shubhairapnoti devatvam. If all the storage of previously performed actions, when you see, if only good deeds come together, then you go to the heavenly body. Why is it called that good deeds come together? There is no old age, and you can enjoy as much as you like. There is no old age, and there is no vishranti for the indriyas. They do not get tired. Here, if you eat more than 2 chapatis, your stomach gets full. There you can enjoy as much as you like. That doesn't get tired. But what happens? Kshine punya martya lokam vishanti. As soon as all your good deeds are exhausted, you come back here on this martya loka. Martya is where you have the death. But be very careful. It is not necessary that you will come back again in the human birth. So that is called Shubhairapnoti Devatvam. When all deeds come together, you get the divine body, the godly or Devata body. Ashubhairapnoti Narakim Tanum. When all the bad deeds come together, what happens? You go to the lower births. Then Ubhabhyam Punyapabhabhyam Manushyam Janma Labhate. When these good and bad deeds come together in a proportionate percentage, then only you get this human birth. That is Ubhabhyam Punyapabhabhyam. In this way, Narajanma Durlabham. It is very, very difficult to get. Then Ataha Punstvam. So then afterwards, getting a human male body. The reason here all the mothers are sitting, but you see, in the olden days, it was said that mothers were busy with helping in the kitchen and all these things. Specifically, male, they had the opportunity to read the scriptures and attend the Vedadhyanam and Gurukulam, etc. So it is said by Bhagavan Bhashyakara that Ata Pumstvam. Pumstvam is the male human body. But you can say Maitreyi, Gargi and so many are exceptions where even remaining in the female body, they got this knowledge. Modern days may not be so, but this Bhagavan Bhashyakara says that this applies to most of them even now. Tato Viprata, after getting the male body, even then it is that he got the Vipra. Vipra is, you can say, Brahmana, because they were engaged always in studying this Vedas, etc. So it is said, Naitadrisham Brahmanasya asti vittam. There is no other wealth for Brahmanas. What is it? It is said, Yathekata Samata Satyatacha. For them it is said that they remain always, Brahmana is not only by birth, we will be seeing. They remain always equanimous, Samata, and they always speak truth, Satyatacha. There is no other wealth apart from this. Those are to be considered here, not only those who are born in the Brahman family. So, that is Tato Viprata. Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Not only being born in the Brahmana family, but they should also be able to follow the path of Vedas. There is a very beautiful story that Shvetaketu, his father calls him, and at the age of 12, he says, there is no one in our family who has not studied the Vedas. Go and study the Vedas. Because the appropriate age was 9 years. He has become 12 years, so 3 years has already passed, Shvetaketu. Then the father says that you better go and study. Ananuchana, there is no one in our family who has not studied the Vedas. So in the same way, just by being born in the Brahman family is not enough. Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. Dharma is what? Dvividohi Vedokto Dharma. Pravritti Lakshanascha, Nivritti Lakshanascha. Dharma is the one which is holding Dharyate, Dhriyate iti Dharma, which is supporting all these systems. What a person has to do, how he should wake up, how he should sleep, and all these things. And it is of two types, it is said. One is Pravritti Lakshanaha. Pravritti is how you should perform the yaga, homa, havana, etc. Nivritti is withdrawing from the worldly matters. That is Nivritti Lakshanascha. Marga Parata. This is the path of the Dharma. That is merits, it is called. So, how you should follow this? Vidvatvam asmat param. Then afterwards you should know. Yadeva Viryavattaram means whatever you perform by knowing, that gives you more fruit. If you see, if you put a finger in fire, whether you know it or you do not know, it will burn. But when you do perform it by knowing, then it yields more fruit. That is called Vidvattam Asmat Param. Atma Anatma Vivechanam Swanubhavo Brahmatmana Sanstatihi. So, the discussion, the distinction between what is Atma and what is Anatma, what is eternal, what is non-eternal, what is Nitya and Anitya, that you should do. This is the introduction shloka, how it should be studied, this scripture. Then Swanubhavo. We'll discuss about the Atma and Anatma tomorrow also in Vivek Chudamani at the same time. So then comes Swanubhavo. Su Anubhavaha. That is experience to back up. You see, if someone has passed out of college and does not have the experience, and if the same degree holder comes and he says, I have few years of experience, whom will you prefer? The one who is having an experience. So, not only this, but the one who has the experience, Su Anubhavaha. That is to remove all the doubts from the mind, approaching to a guru and having the proper confirmed clarity of mind, of experience. That the disciple goes to a teacher and says that I know about Brahman. Then the teacher says, Yadi manyase suvedeti, the Brahmaevapi nonam. If you think that you know about the Brahman, then it is still, you are lacking something behind. Then the disciple goes back again and he meditates on it and then comes back. And he says, No na vedeti vedacha. I do not say that I know about the Brahman, because once you say you know about it, that becomes something else apart from you. And the triad comes The knower, the thing known, and through which the instrument you are knowing it, that is called Gyata Jnana Geya Triputi. That triad does not exist. So in this way, Su Anubhavaha, having one's own experience after learning from the teachers, masters, Brahmatmana Sanstitihi. How will he remain? He remain in his own self. Brahma is not different from the Atman. Today also there was a question in the Prashnottari whether Atma and Brahma, these two words are used. Are they different? They are one and the same. Lord Sri Krishna says, Aham Atma Godakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitaha. I am the Atman who is pervading in all these beings. And then said, I am Atma Brahma. This Atma itself is Brahman. They are not different. So in this way, Brahmatmana Sanstitihi. He remains, he dwells in his own self. Muktir no shatakoti janmasu kritair punyer vina labhyate. This is not possible without having the merits. Punya karma. It is not possible to have shatakoti. It is said hundreds crores births. This is not possible. Only after the punya karma. If you are sitting here, then you have performed some good deeds which have matured, which have ripened to give the fruits. No matter whether you are paying attention or not, that's a different thing. So here you see, Dehatmavadins, what they say, Deha eva Atma. This body itself is the Atman. They do not understand that there is something else apart from this body. If that would be the case, why would there be a need to say Atma ityeva upasita drashtavyo shrotavyo mantavyo nididhyasitavyaha, that it should be meditated upon, it should be listened. First you have to approach a guru, shrotavyaha, you should hear about it, you should listen about it, then you should think upon it, then you should deeply contemplate, that is nididhyasana, where you remove all your doubts and then you remain in the Brahmatman. So there is definitely something apart from it. So this Dehatmavadis is called Charvakaha. Yavad jivet, sukham jivet. They say as long as you are alive, be happy, be joyful. Even take the debt and do the parties every day. Yavad jivet, sukham jivet. Rinam kritva, gritam pibet. Rinam means what? Take a debt. And gritam means what? Do the parties, enjoy ghee and etc. Bhasmi bhutasya sharirasya punaragamanam kutaha. When this body is burned, cremated, there is no coming back. That is their theory, their philosophy. But such is not the case. This is what Bhagavan Bhashyakara has explained. Now, moving forward to another. This is the fourth one. One second. Durlabham Trayameta. This is very important. The third one. Durlabham Trayametat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Sanshaya. You see, in the previous shloka, it was spoken of Narajanma, just getting the body. But here you see, that particular when you see in the shloka Tva, Manushyatva and Mumukshatva, that is what it is being spoken of, having human qualities after getting the body. That is Ahimsa, Satyam, Akrodham, Tyaga, Shantirapaishunam. All these great divine qualities a person should have, then only it is called Manushyatva. Just having a human body is not enough. Otherwise what will happen? Bhaya, Nidra, Maithunam, Aharam cha. They are all equal according to the animal. Even the human being is afraid. Just now in the Adhyasa Bhashi it was being spoken of, that if a person carrying a cane or a strong beam, if he is coming, even a person who knows he will run away. So Bhaya, Nidra means sleep. And the progeny, procreation, Maithunam, Aharam, the food. They are all equal in the animals as well as human beings. What is different? Dharmaha, Vivekaha and all these things, it is unique pertaining to that. So that Manushyatva, the ability of being called as human, the divine qualities should be there. Just like when you say Ghatatva, Ghatatva is the quality of being called as the pot. Not everything is called pot. In Ghata there remains the Jati Ghatatva. In Manushya there remains the qualities of Manushyatva, divine qualities. In the same way, mumukshutvam, having manushyatva and then getting a strong desire to get liberated, having a strong dispassion, vairagyam. There are three, manda, madhyama and tivra vairagyam. So having tivra vairagya, strong dispassion, mumukshutvam, then mahapurusha sanshaya. Then getting connected to the mahapurusha, the one who knows about it. Ascharyo Vakta Kushalosya Labdhva, the one who is able to get such a guru who is able to instruct about the Vedanta teachings. And Narada Bhakti Sutra says, Mahad iti durlabha, sudurlabha, Mahad sansargaha sudurlabha. The getting connection with the Mahapurushas is very, very difficult. And then once you get near to him, then it is infallible, means it is amogha. Just like Kunti has prayed to divine gods and they have appeared. Then Kunti says, no, I was just testing, you go back. What does he say? Once I have come, I have to give you some boon. In the same way, when you approach to a guru, if you are able to get near to a guru, such guru which is being spoken of, then you will definitely yield the fruit. That is Mahapurusha Sanshraya. Because the scripture says, Na narena varena proktaha. Each and every common person is not capable or eligible of instructing such Vedanta teachings. So you say Mahapurusha Sanshraya in this way. Moving forward to the fourth one. It is said, Labdhva katanchid narajanma durlabham tatrapi punstvam shruti paradarshanam yah swatma mukti na yateta mudhadi sa atmaha swam vinihantya asadgrahat. By somehow all your good and bad deeds have come together and you got the human birth. Labdhva kathanchit narajanma durlabham. First of all, happening that is very difficult. Once in rare chance, you can say. You say, Swamiji, our India is flowing with overpopulation. And how do you say that getting a human birth is very difficult? Each and every moment we are seeing so many people born. But that is called Manushya Rupena Mrigascharanti. The people, they are only, you are able to see them in a human form, but neither they have the human qualities. I am not speaking about all of them, but many, when you say majoritively, what has the scriptures say? All of them are called Asuraha. Asura are not only the demons. Asusuramanti iti Asuraha. Those who are dwelling in the material joy or happiness, they can also be called Asuraha. Normally you say Asura is demons, but that is not the word here. The one who runs behind materialistic object is called Asura. Asusuramanti iti Asuraha. So the one here it is spoken of Durlabham is who? The one who has this kind of discrimination, that is Durlabham. It is very rare quality. Tatrapi punstvam sruti paradarshanam. And even there, if you are getting a human male body, and the intellect is able to understand the scriptures, Shruti Paradarshanam, Yah Swatma Muktya na yateta mudadi. The one who does not take any efforts to understand the scriptures or to get liberated. Scriptures are scolding, it is said, he is mudhadhi. He is the greatest foolish person. You see, the grace are of four kinds. That is Shastra Kripa, Ishwara Kripa, Guru Kripa. The grace of a teaching God, the grace of the masters, the grace of the scripture. All first three are available, but still he is not putting any efforts. That is, there is no Atma Kripa. That is, he is not having the self-grace. He is not doing a grace upon his own self. So then the scriptures are scolding. He is saying, Mudhadi, Sa Atmaha. And he is there is no greater sin than killing one old self. So Atmaha. If you are not recognizing, realizing your own self in this very birth, then that means you are killing your own self. Why? You are putting yourself again in the cycle of birth and death. Iha ched avedid atha satyamasti. No ched iha avedid mahati vinasti. Bhuteshu bhuteshu vichitya dhiraha pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. In this way, you dwell, you go on in the cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. There is no greater sin than that. You anyatha santam atmanam, anyatha pratipadyate, kim tena nakritam papam chorena atma paharina. This is being said in Sanat Sujatiyam, that if you are not taking the opportunity what is being gifted by the God, and then there is no greater sense in this, and you are a thief. You are stealing away this opportunity. Thief is not only that you are stealing away something else, but you yourself are stealing away your own opportunity to get liberated. Coming to the fifth one, itah konu asti moodhatma yastu swarthe pramadyati. There is no greater foolish person than the one who is not engaging for his own self. You see, someone else, if someone shows you work, oh, go there and do this, what you will say? Oh, for now I am feeling lazy, I'll do tomorrow. But who is a greater foolish person who is not really doing his own work? Forget about others' work. Swarthe. Swa means his own. Artha means what? Solving his own difficulties, sorrows, miseries, and all those things. Janma dukkham, jara dukkham, dukkham janma punah punah. There is no sorrow, great difficulty apart from this birth and death and all these things. So he is not taking the opportunity to solve his own problems. Itah konu asti moodhatma yastu swarthe pramadyati. He is being lazy in solving his own problems, not taking efforts. Durlabham manusham deham prapya tatrapi paurusham. So this human birth is very, very rare, and it gets with great difficulty. Again and again, please understand, when we talk about human birth, means to have the capacity of understanding the scriptures. Otherwise, people, they approach, they say, Swamiji, you always speak about human birth with great difficulty. We are overflowing with the population. In fact, we have kept China behind, and we are number one in population. How is it so? The person who has all these faculties, who has the senses, who has the instrument gifted by the Lord, by his own purva karma, you got the opportunity. So grab it. It is said. Sanat Sujatiyam says, Pramadam vai mrityum aham bravimi. He says, this laziness itself is death. There is no other death. Pramadam vai mrityum aham bravimi. Tatha apramadam amritatvam bravimi. Non-laziness itself is immortality. The reason is, if you become non-lazy, you will engage in the Shravana Manana and Nididhyasana and Sadhana Chatushtaya, Viveka Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumuksha, and get liberated from this very birth. Om Tat Sat. Thank you.